Watch out in the crowd. It's coming your way. Bang, bang, 6-6. Fabulous innings, fabulous game. Fantastic tournament.
Yo, Marky, we come to the people today, weary and tired but elated, because I got up at 2:30 this morning to watch the Proteas in the hope that I would see a classic. And I think we got somewhere close to that. And so this elation is carrying me through the day. But I won't lie, I'm tired. And people can go and read the summary of, well, the way I saw what was effectively a quarterfinal on the website. And we'll link the piece below. But I wanted to know, from your perspective, how did you see that?
Yeah, I thought, just the way things panned out, the way England's come back in our pool, it would have been a travesty if South Africa lose one game and out they go again.
Right.
And
on run rate, no.
On run rate,
yeah.
which was it would be typical of South Africa at any World Cup.
And there was rain delays as well. I was like,
no. When I asked you last night, listen, is there rain? No chance of rain. I'm like, no, there will be rain. It's South Africa, mate. The rain will come from somewhere, okay? Even if they manufacture it.
There were thunderstorms, 38 degrees, players' shirts were sticking to him, but the rain was pelting down.
A playoff game, and as you said, it effectively was a playoff game, a quarterfinal. When it comes to South Africa, cricket, World Cups, anything ICC linked, you just know, expect the unexpected. Yeah. And invariably we've come out on the wrong side of that. And so I watched, then went and cuddled the little one, watched a bit, followed on Crick Info, and then I got stuck at 110 for 6, and I thought, I've got to go up, something's wrong here. There was the delay. And then it was like, are they going to get these runs? Then it was 13 of 13, yeah. 13 of 12.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And then obviously being the superstitious cricket tragic that I am, positioned myself somewhere, switched off. Switched off till I waited for your WhatsApp to come through. It said, we've given ourselves a chance. Yes! Then I went up and I watched the last 2 hours. It was on recording. So all those things playing out at 7 o'clock this morning already.
Sounds between you and I, the emotional roller coaster that we were on, with a nation nonetheless, because I was following it on Twitter as it was going as well, and everyone, people were jumping between ecstasy and tragedy. This can't happen again. So between us and the cricketing nation, I don't think we've got any capacity left for the rest of this tournament.
And then I thought, given our chats last week, it's a good thing I'm not a selector, because Jansen wouldn't have been there.
Yes.
So he bowled in the style up front, and he was there, 21 not out, the big 6 to end it, never in doubt. Rabada, as you said, you only had to do one thing, and he did.
Yeah.
He put Jansen back on strike.
Yep.
And I just think, again, so consistent with what we've seen. It's now seven victories in succession. Not one of them has been a gimme, not even the one against the USA, given how they came back.
Or Nepal.
Yeah, most definitely that one. But just again, the calm and the confidence and the intelligence with which they've played, and so understated. And we've seen it in their bowling attack, which consistently has been very good, and the way Markram has obviously used his bowlers, used himself up front, took on the responsibility, bowled himself through, took a wicket, and is willing to play the moment as opposed to play a reputation. We spoke about him, Rabada only getting 2 overs, but the match situation allowed for that.
Right.
We previously, captains would have said, I've got to go to him, he's my big guy, 4 overs, and maybe it's just not his day. Or I just feel, and we've seen this throughout the World Cup, we've seen him be calculated and really just play every moment as he feels is going to be to the best of the team, be it field positions, placements, be it bowling changes. And he's also very calculated in his bowling. I remember when Kevin Peterson first came on the scene and he took over as the ODI captain, innovation was everything. You'd be bowling 5 bowlers, 1 over each, and then bring them back. Yeah. And so you could see what he was trying to do, but there wasn't necessarily a science to it. It was that he wanted to speed up the game, and he wanted to get away from this traditional you bowl 4, I bowl 4, he comes in, sweeper goes out kind of thing. Yeah. With him, and AB was a bit guilty of that as well when he first took over as skipper, maybe too much innovation, too much movement.
Yeah.
I just feel there's this absolute presence of calm. So there's no chaos around him. Even if there is in his head, it's like a duck. We've seen the duck above water, and at the bottom, those legs are just pumping to get to the other side of the lake. But I think one of the biggest differences, and we've spoken about it consistently on your show, it's been what a difference he has made as the national captain. We've had this thinky man's captain, and all we want to know is we bat him at 6'4", 1 or 3. Here it doesn't really matter where you bat him. He's just been so valuable as a leader in the field, some terrific catches, and then obviously I've always felt his bowling is underrated. So aspect of his game that the more he works on it, the more he can turn himself into an all-rounder.
We've spoken about this issue across multiple sports. Leadership matters. We in our private time, you share a lot of videos around Messi and his leadership impact on that Argentinian side, and I'm not comparing Markram to Messi because Messi's order and his impact on that team it stands alone. But the point I'm trying to make is leadership matters, and I'm just watching Markram in the field. It's exactly what you said. There's a sense of calm, and even the senior players, they take their cues from him. You can see it. You can see what's happening. With previous captains, I felt like sometimes the senior players would overwhelm that captain, and because of the power dynamic there, that would have quite a negative impact on the captain. And I'm not only talking about Bavuma. There have been other captains prior to him. We have seen that happen. But that doesn't seem to happen with Markram. And that speaks to the respect that he holds in that change room. And the fact that, it's the same way as like Rassie and Sia's order has been built by success, consistent success. They don't carry that same presence if they don't win 2 World Cups or if they don't beat the British and Irish Lions. And, kind of in a micro kind of way, 7 wins on the trot earns Markram the standing that he has now. And to watch him operate has been such a breath of fresh air. He brought himself onto bowl to Pooran, who's been in phenomenal T20 form this year, and I think you could build a cricket argument that he was probably the West Indies key batter. Got Pooran out, bowled his 4 through for 28, I think, and what he did after that was even more telling. The partnerships that he created from each end, whether it be Shamsi and Nokia, Keshav and Shamsi, Keshav and Nokia, it was just excellent. They choked that West Indies batting lineup, who people mustn't forget, blitzed us 3-0 2 months ago. And people are talking about the nature of the win. Yeah, we just scraped through. Man, we've just beaten the defending champions and we've beaten the hosts.
But people say we just scraped through. I just want to take them back to Paris. 1 point. And no one was complaining about that.
Right.
I mean, it's at the end of the day, whether you win by 10 wickets or you win by 1 run, do you get the win? I would rather have the kind of wins we've had than a flamboyant 220 plays 215 and we've lost. But wow, weren't we good out there?
Right.
No, that's like they've played the situation. They haven't been easy tracks. We went to New York. We didn't know what to expect. We were up against the lower tier nations. Comfortably, they could have caused upsets. They did.
Yeah.
You saw a side like Pakistan go out because of that. But even there, the role that each person had to play, the confidence that they got. So Nokia in the first game took wickets, said he had gone for 50 and 40 in the West Indies in the warm-up games. The faster he bowled, the further it travelled.
Yeah.
But he just needed that one match. But for Markram, it was never in doubt. He was always going to come good.
Yeah.
You sent me that quote yesterday with Bartman, where Markram had said to him when he said, I don't think I can do it. I can't bowl these Yorkers at the death. And he said, I've seen you bowl 13 of them in the nets. Of course you can do it. And he gave him the ball. So giving Maharaj the ball in the 20th over against Afghanistan, Bangladesh, wasn't it?
Bangladesh
against Bangladesh. Yeah. Giving him the ball in the 20th over and saying you can do it. Again, luck favours the brave.
Yeah.
2 full tosses could have gone right into the Hudson, as you say.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yeah.
He took the wicket, the catch out on the deep. So he's been brave, bold, but he's also been very calculated in what he's done, and he's been very clear to his bowlers and to his field. This is the expectation I have of you. And some days it's going to work, some days it's not. And for the most, it has worked.
Yeah.
And I think the key, like you say, who he's backed, how he's backed them, that there's been no doubt again, and just going away from the bowling attack, to restrict them to 135 in those conditions, outstanding. This is the West Indies side that when they get going, they can blast big. It's one of the most talented West Indies teams I've seen, one of the most potent when it comes to power hits.
Agreed.
And then to lose Reeza first ball, to lose Quinny after just as it looked like we could get another special one from him today, 15 for 2. But again, there was no panic. There was this kind of, this one came in and got 20. That one came in and got 20. Markram got 18, stuck around. But all key contributions in the context of the game again.
Right.
And I think we also need to look away from, was it a 55 not out? Was it a 41 not out? Because sometimes in 11 or 11 balls.
Right.
And even if you take the context of Reeza, who's been woefully out of form, if you're going to get out first ball. Basically, don't stick around for 11 balls for 1.
Yeah.
So that was even a positive. And again, how they've backed him throughout, and there's been no talk of axing him. So that's going to be one of the interesting things for me leading into the semi-final. Do they say somewhere in this tournament, this guy's got a big score, and if it comes in the semi-finals or the final, then we've been within our rights to back him.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts there? Do you think they will tamper? Do you think they will leave him out? Do you think they will continue to say, we do back you?
So let me answer your question by speaking more broadly around selection. And then I'll get to what I think they're going to do. And this is where I have to compliment Rob Walter. I was going to say Rob Walter in the selectors, but Enoch Nkwe has empowered him to select the team that he wants to. So I have to compliment Rob Walter here because, and I'm sorry to be harping on about the past, but that is the reference point for us when we're talking about World Cups. That in the past, we've gone with at the start of the World Cup, gone with a pace-centric attack, and those wickets dictated that we do that. And done so well in the pool phase there, gone unbeaten in the pool phase. Previously, I think what would have happened was we'd go like, oh, no, we got to back these guys. You got to back the winning team. Instead of, and this is what you mentioned earlier on, instead of making an informed selection based on the conditions that prevail. And so to shift from that and to bring in Shamsi into that attack, for me, deserves praise because previous Proteas teams would have backed a winning team. And I think that would have been our downfall a lot of the time, or at least contributed significantly to it. And there's been a certainty and a focused, I don't even know how to describe the selection kind of philosophy, but there's been a certainty around the selections that they've made. They've gone like, okay, this is the horse for this course. And I think that's what they're going to apply to Hendricks as well. In between World Cups, Reeza Hendricks averaged 43 with a strike rate of nearly 160. So he's clearly a competent T20 player. And something has gone wrong now. It's really one of the first times in his T20 career where he struggled in this way. And I think that there's still a strong belief in Reeza. And I think that's justified based on his historical form. And so I think they'll back him. They'll back him for the semi-final. We're filming this before we know who South Africa's opponents would be. But I think they'll back him for any semi-final. And if they don't, it's a scenario that you described earlier on. Markram and Walters as the senior leadership team there would have a very clear idea of why they did that, and I feel would communicate that to Reeza in a way that still affirms him, but also affirms the reality that he's struggling.
I also find very odd that there's been there hasn't been this collective, especially among the South African media, acknowledgement of what they're achieving. There's been this, wow, they've got through another one, only just, haven't choked this time. It's kind of the reports that I've been reading. So there's been this sense of, yeah, we'll give them the due, but we're not actually seeing this growth of this team. And because what they're not talking about is winning it, the players. They're just talking about winning the next game. Doing their own natural talent justice, doing their disciplines justice. It's the first time I've heard a South African team speak like that, cricket team at a World Cup. They're not putting pressure on themselves.
Right.
And look at the quality of teams at this World Cup. And India, and England, and Australia. I mean, any one of those three teams can win it. Afghanistan have been outstanding. Bangladesh have been outstanding.
And the context, this is what baffles me. The teams that you mentioned, those teams have lost in this tournament to lesser sides.
And then, so to win this tournament...
And we haven't.
And to win this tournament, geez, you've got to have played well, you've got to have had a bit of luck on your side, and it's got to go for you on the day. So to get to where we are now, top 4, unbeaten in 7 games, it really has put us at the fore again of T20 cricket, which we haven't been for a while. And it goes back to the opening three-match series they played in the West Indies, where they tried a lot of things, and the result wasn't as significant as it would have been previously. They kind of had a plan of what they wanted to see. West Indies blasted them away in a few of the matches. The IPL players came back. But consistently in the past, we would have gone in there, try to win that series 3-0, get on a roll, say this is our World Cup, and then we have one shitty half an hour, and that's the end. We're out. So it's like from the outset, we've been saying just how much we've enjoyed this because of the variation of the pitches, because of the struggle that batsmen have had against bowlers. Because for the first time in a World Cup, a shortened format, be it ODIs or T20s, you've just felt the life of the bowler has come to the fore. There's been a re-emergence of, this is a game played by batters and bowlers. And if you're very good, be it as a seamer or as a slow bowler, you're going to have success. And if you're exceptional as a batsman, you're going to have success. If you're not really, if you're a bit in between, you could go. So how interesting, how absolutely magnificent in terms of cricket and entertainment.
So interesting. And I agree with you. And your kind of posture on this issue has forced me to kind of evaluate where I stand. And you were talking about success. And it's forced me to evaluate how we define success in the context of this tournament and the conditions, pitch conditions that are shaping matches. And in saying that, a 20 odd from, I was irritated the way he got out Stubbs today, but that 20 odd was so vital in the same way that Claessen's was, and to a certain extent what Markram's contribution was. But it's forced us to redefine what success is in this particular tournament, and I've enjoyed that.
But one of the games I really enjoyed, again, low scoring, but nuances, mini battles, lots of thinking going on, was Afghanistan against Australia. So Pat Cummins, 3 wickets in 3 balls, should have had 4 in 4. Dave Warner spilled a sitter out in the deep. But just how cleverly he was bowling, taking the pace off the ball. Then there was a skidder. Then there was kind of like the attempt of a slow bouncer. But you just never knew what was coming. That's why he's ranked 1-2 consistently in the world as an opening bowler or first change bowler. Then I looked again when Afghanistan were bowling. You thought, Australia's got this. I mean, 99 for 4, 100, 110 for 5. They've got to get this. And variation. One guy gets out. A little bit of panic sets in. Now, I keep on hopping on this, but you go back to the IPL. You've got a bowler of Cummins' quality going for 60 in 4 overs. Because some 2-bit Bob is knocking him all over the park, because all he has to do is put his front foot down on leg stump and swing. And then 250 plays 244, and everyone says 28 sixes in this game. Wow, this is exciting. Not quite for me, not quite as exciting. I understand the thrill of what they're doing, but when I look at a contest and I just look at what's going to keep me occupied, and over and above the result, that over between batsman and bowler is riveting. Those 6 balls, and that 6 balls over 11 has shaped the match, for example. Or that one field placement or that one catch has defined it. Or it's not over yet. A guy like Rabada has to come back, and if you can just keep it under 9 and over, we're in this thing, and the batsman have got a decent target to chase.
Yeah.
That's what's made this thing so cool for me, aligned obviously to our success, and then obviously also the absolute confidence in each player's role, knowing what they're doing, knowing who their middle order is, knowing what's expected of them. And this was the first time someone like Janssen, in 7 matches, has been asked to do a specific role because the situation demanded it, and he came up trumps.
Right.
And also the mentality of sticking around at a very, very important time where if he had gone early, you would have backed the West Indies to come back and bowl us out. Okay?
Yeah.
But then when that last over came, there was no, we're going to play this one out in singles.
Yeah.
Boom. 6 over, let's get out of here, 5 balls to spare.
Yeah.
That's the confidence of the team I talk about.
Right. You spoke about the nuances, how games have shifted, how momentum has shifted. And again, that's I think where this Proteas team aren't getting their deserved dues, because today they were against the West Indies, they were in complete control of the match. At one stage, the rate required was 4.6. And then the West Indies, because they're a good cricket team, pulled us back. And the momentum had completely shifted in the West Indies' favour. And the pressure told. The pressure told in the way that Miller went out. You could see that coming. He was trying to hit Chase through the offside when Chase was just bowling skiddy ones into Midland leg. He was trying to hit him through the offside. It wasn't bouncing. He was going to get... And then in the way some of the other players played as well. And in those scenarios, Australia have lost to Afghanistan. They weren't able to pull the momentum back. There have been other big sides who've lost to so-called minnows, New Zealand, for example, where they haven't been able to pull the momentum back. But this Proteas side have done it consistently through 7 games.
But even if you take... England is a very good side. Now, they lost an opener against Australia, and then they had a game washed out, and that put them under the pump.
Yeah.
But they demolished the West Indies. And they were involved in an incredible battle with us. So for us to come out on top against them, and you made this point earlier, we've beaten the defending champions, who are in form. Don't be lulled by the fact that one of the games was a washout. And we've beaten the hosts, who know those conditions better than anyone, who are a terrific side, who've got a lot of talent in their squad, no matter who they put out as an 11. And they would have gone into that match as favourites. And it would have been cruel for South Africa to lose one game and go out on potentially on a net run rate.
Yeah.
And it would have been like, it was inevitable. So they are through. They through to the last 4, and I think they've been magnificent in getting there.
Yeah. And I want to close on this. We're now going to the semi-finals. Like I said earlier on, we filmed this at the time where the semi-finalists haven't been confirmed yet. But I want to speak about what constitutes success for South Africa in this tournament. To my mind, outside of a really obvious choke in a semi-final scenario, I think that the growth that this team has showed throughout the tournament already constitutes success. You have to be realistic and go like, when South Africa came into this tournament, I didn't have them in my semi-finals. I said it was Australia, India, West Indies, and somebody else. I can't remember. But England, yeah. I didn't have South Africa. And I think that was a realistic perspective based on their form in the calendar year. And they've transcended all of my expectations of them. And this is not a defeatist mentality where I go like, if we lose, it's okay. It's not okay if we lose. I think the performance is important. But this team, for me, has been incredible and a success.
The one word that you use there, choke, and it's one that gets thrown liberally at any South African cricket team, as it used to be thrown at any All Black rugby team at World Cups, is there's a choke and there's been choked.
Yeah.
And on these tracks, often we see teams getting choked, but it would appear as if they're choking.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So you've got a situation where it seems like it's a dollar in the back end, but the conditions have changed.
Yeah.
there's dew on the ball. It's
Yeah.
now slower. So you're thinking, why haven't they closed this game out?
Yeah.
Their best bowlers are back going at you. So, excuse me, in the context of our semi-final and hopefully a final, I would say be guarded to people in what you consider choking or being choked.
Right.
Especially given the quality of team that will be playing in those last four. To win this thing, you've got to play bloody well in the last two games, and you've also got to have a lot of luck.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be incredible. South Africa would have to now, to win this thing, they're going 9 on the spin. And coming into the tournament, I didn't give them 3. But now I'm invested, and I think they are worth our investment and our belief. And I mean, I look forward to the semi-finals. We'll reconvene just after they play whoever, and chat about that some more. But I've been really encouraged by them.
And I mean, if it is written in the stars, we'll win by 1 run and 1 run, or 1 wicket and 1 wicket. There's going to be a 1.
It's
somewhere.
the South African way.
South African way, chasing 1, 1, 1.
Yeah. Mark, it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much, mate.
Thanks, man.
Watch out in the crowd. It's coming your way. Bang, bang, 6-6. Fabulous innings, fabulous game, fantastic tournament.